Good evening, everybody. According to the United Nations, world's one-third food. According to the United Nations, world's one-third food is wasted. And in order to solve this problem, we came up with the startup Feed Fruit. What good is a smart city if it is not consuming right? So, over the period of last 1.5 years, myself have been going to the food market and finding what's happening. So for the last 1.5 years, I went and I bought my fruit, but there are a lot of wastage happening with the fruit. This bin which you see around here is the bin which is in each block, and it's being filled twice in a day by the food for the food vendors. So we went and we verified that a lot of food is being thrown here, and the vendors have different perspective, and these guys have different perspective. To solve this problem, again, fruit and vegetables are the top 3 categories in the UAE which are being wasted. And according to data from 2016 to 21, 22% growth in food consumption is going to be there. So if we do nothing, food waste is going to be from 16 billion to 18 billion dirhams, going back to the 13 billion figure we have. Fruit and vegetables account for the 33% food wasted in the UAE. Our solution, platform to connect fruit and vegetable vendors to the end user directly. Before the fruit is in a state of still in consumption, they should be able to sell directly to the end user. Prevent food wastage from the very source. Value proposition, fruit and vegetable at a very reasonable price, better nutrition. Prototype app, which we have. So the seller can register as a seller and the customer can register. They both have a marketplace. Then you can buy and buy later, and all the options are available. Customer segments, middle to lower income class. So people who are unable to afford the fruit can easily directly buy from the marketplace. And the vendors, for them, there is no need to waste fruit anymore. They can always list the fruit, and before it's still coming or expiry date, they can always get rid of it. Business model is a transaction-based business. We charge 3 to 5% of the business of the transaction value of the number of food which is being sold, fruit and vegetables. Marketing rollout. We're going to use the influencers and social media and word of mouth. So we're going to go to the shops, get them enrolled, and have the influencers come on board and reduce wastage throughout the UAE. Partnership with UAE Food Bank and the municipality to enhance the wastage, lower the wastages in the UAE. Future plans. Within the 1 to 2 years, we want to deliver the fruit and vegetables to the UAE market, the labor camps throughout the UAE. And then we have, later we will sign up with supermarkets, and later we will sign up with the restaurants. Team, it's myself and my partner Anna, and Ois is a student who is also here. Thank you so much.
This one off, this one more
Hi. Good. Definitely, very well identified problem. But have you found out why it is not done today? Because this is something which is happening and been happening for quite some time, and it's not only limited to this perishable food, but also restaurants have lots of cooked food, which is not consumed, by the expiry date, and there are many apps, that have come out to see that how the leftover food or near to expiry date, how that can be distributed. So number of apps have been coming out on this, but for the perishable foods in specific, the fruits and vegetables that you mentioned, do you know why it's not done so far? Do you have any knowledge on that?
I think the reason the pricing of the fruit, it's a lot of difference between the wholesaler itself and then the supermarkets. So we went down yesterday and we figured out the box of raspberries cost around 16 dirham. When you arrive to any supermarket, the same box of raspberry would cost you around 20 to 25 dirhams. So the whole difference, if a family is going to buy fruits and vegetables at a different price, and if they're buying in bulk, the price is cheaper, and then when they go to
She's not working.
Right.
And when they go to the supermarket, the price is completely different. So the problem happens when they look at the price, they leave the product right there, and they're unable to buy. So this connects the vendor directly to the end user. So you have the first option is to buy at their listed price, and after a few days, they're going to lower the price down, and they can buy it directly.
Did you do the validation with municipality or food ban that you mentioned? Why it is not done today? Because this is no problem, right?
Yes.
We have a chance to do the validation as to why it's not done.
Well, given that it was the weekend, we did the valuation which we could. We went to the food market and then we went to the supermarket. So at least we know that there is the problem, and we spoke with a few vendors and they would like to sign up. And as for the UE food bank, again, we were limited with for the past day and a half to the internet research, but as far as we know, two things. The first one, the UE food bank, is a very recent initiative. It hasn't been there even 2 years ago, so I think that's number one. And we did look at what's going on in the other countries, for example, the US, where a lot of innovation has been actually happening, to be honest, well before it started happening here. And they're still facing this problem with the food waste. And our view is such that we do want to partner with the EU Food Bank, because I think this particular issue is the issue also changing the mindset. And to be very honest, even the countries which have been focusing on this problem, it still takes them a few years to do. So partially answering your question, we are assuming that it's also changing the mindset and the attitude.
One question is, so what is the USP that you have? I mean, why can't a vendor right now, this is question one, approach and use this, basically resell whatever his extra stock is by himself? And number two, with perishable items like this, it's a really fine line in terms of what's good and what's not. So how do you manage that?
You can answer the question.
So initially we planned this to third day. Usually I've been buying food for the last 2-3 years from the same market, and the food stays well when it arrives for the first 3 to 4 days, and they have refrigerators. But what if the stock keeps coming, and if it doesn't go out, it starts to spread down, and what happens is they start throwing it. And then second option for them is to give it to the vendors outside in the shade. There are 4 shades in the market. And then again, that's already a fruit which is already on the 3rd, 4th day. And then they start selling, and they don't have any refrigeration, nothing. And then again, the food is wasted. So we are trying to connect the buyer directly with the vendor. So before, instead of giving out to another shade, food not in good quality, or food which is still consumable, it could be taken straight to your fridge, from their fridge.
Yeah, generally food control authorities won't allow such a thing, because there's a great amount of food quality check that happens.
No, this will be food which is actually in good quality. They usually return, we check them, what happens with your food. They say we return the food when it's not in a good condition to sell out.
Okay, thank you.